There are times that I may slip up, won't always get it right. Guarantee I'll be on top when it's game, set, life. Get up and show up, don't ever lose your fight. You watching me from the couch, at least I say I tried. A long time ago, someone said this stuck with me. Passion without action will only remain a dream. Keep positive, motivated people on your team, cause other negativity can kill your self-esteem. Believing is powerful, but sadly so is doubt. So you can choose which way you wanna go, which route. The mind that controls the body can beat anybody, and gotta be all in, don't treat your dreams like a hobby. And if you practice on your day off, won't have an off day. Talent alone won't get you there, still got a long way. Gotta take big risks and big steps to strive. Wanna be the winner when it's game, set, live. Whoa.
Oh, whoa. Exactly right. It's getting better and better. And if we're not getting better, what are we getting, Rick Macci?
Or getting worse. And that intro was epic. I love it.
Yeah, we're only getting better, and I'm super excited to host this show with my newest partner in crime, Rick Macci. He is a legend in all respects, not just as a tennis coach, but as an entrepreneur, an inspired leader, especially of our youth. And it's just a testament to doing the right things when you're surrounding yourself with the right people and the right ideas. And that's what this show is about, Game, Set, Life, surrounding ourselves with the right people and the right ideas. Rick, you know, we're coming into this new year, and you're coming into a new season, and the season just isn't about tennis. It's about your career. And although you look a lot younger, and I've seen a lot of videos of you, you know, this is a different season for your career, and you're really grabbing a hold of this season the same way you have throughout your tennis career, both playing and coaching. You know, what are you most excited about for your future? You know, you're in your late 60s. I'm going to divulge that. Hopefully people will be impressed as I am. But you know, a lot of people are especially in Florida, a lot of people your age are winding down. You're just gearing up.
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm trying to get better. I love it just as much today as I did, you know, back when I started when I was 22. But no, there's a lot of good things. And the first thing is this podcast that I do with you. I think it's great. And there's been a lot of opportunity that's been thrown at me. I'm just being patient with it. A few doors in Hollywood have knocked, and we're going to see where that all goes. But I'm excited because people are seeing me a little bit more off the tennis court, which has been my living room for the past 40 years. And people kind of know what I've done. And I think since the movie, you know, people have got to see me with the hundreds of podcasts I've done and interviews, especially with Serena retiring. They go, I want to get to know this guy. So I think the best is yet to come, and I'm going for it. I'm all in. I'm super pumped.
And you should be. And I, you know, was blessed to meet you on our podcast in an interview. And it was amazing because very rarely, but every once in a while, I meet someone and both parties come off of an interview feeling as if, hey, this was something different. This wasn't just, you know, something about the movie or some facts about historical relevances in the past. There was a significant difference in our experience together, and you're able and capable of replicating that so many different times. What do you think the energy of an interview, the energy that's shared within the interview, even more than the content of an interview, means to not only the participants, but more importantly, to the millions of people in this huge audience that's available to not only us, but to everyone?
Yeah, no, doing the first podcast with you, the genuineness, I'm very good. You got to understand, Dave, I've been on a tennis court and I can read people and I know human behavior, and, you know, you just have that connection. It's not because we're Buckeyes from the Midwest and, you know, it's come from the heart. I mean, that's all part of it. But at the end of the day, you're the type of guy that if I could ever do something with it, we were just attracted. And I'm just super excited about everything.
And now we're both students. And what I also admire about you is the humility and the fact that you admit that just because you may be the world's best tennis coach doesn't mean you know everything about everything. And, you know, within the context of human nature, but of other things, where are you seeking your knowledge base today? Do you read books, podcasts, what types of things are you looking into that you think is important for the future for your success, not just the tennis success?
First off, great question. What I try to do, the first person that I talk to is myself. I try to empower myself with positivity. I don't surround myself with a lot of negativity. I always, try to empower myself every day. And I think that's where everybody should start. Feed your brain yourself with good thoughts and good exercise and good habits and good structure and good routine. But anybody who's positive and motivating, I want to listen to that person, because we can always learn something from everybody, how to say it, why to say it, a different way to say it. And since I deal with so many different ages and levels of people, you have a better menu of how to connect with people.
You remind me of a mentor that I had years ago. I was blessed to live by, and my best friend was working with a gentleman named Sidney Frank. And Sidney Frank was an entrepreneur, and he started a company called Sidney Frank Imports. And he decided that he was going to create a new vodka. And at the time, vodka was kind of a poor man's drink, and you would see it in a different way. And he flew out to France, and everyone thought he was crazy. He spent $1 million to commission a bottle for vodka.
Wow.
And that bottle was the Grey Goose bottle, which made every bottle of Grey Goose like a piece of art. And instead of charging the normal $9.99 to $19.99 for a bottle, he tripled the price of that bottle of vodka. But he also, tasted, I think, 50 different vodkas around the world to find a French vodka that was much more palatable than what was really lighter fluid type of tasting vodka in the past. And I was blessed to see Grey Goose vodka not only grow, but sell for $2.4 billion. Wow. And when I was with Sydney one day, and I was a young entrepreneur, and I didn't understand what you're talking about, the importance of being around positive people. Someone came into his office, one of his executives, and he was complaining. And Sydney put up his hand like this. He said, "Stop, get the F out of my office." And I was a young entrepreneur, executive of myself. And I looked at him, I was like, "Do you like treat all of your executives that way?" What am I missing, Sydney? Because like, I would think people would like, why would you do that? He said, they understand that I cannot be around negative energy. And if you're going to go to blame, shame, and justification, then get out, adjust what you want to tell me that's in a positive way, because complaining and, blaming and justifying is not going to get us anywhere except for lower my frequency, my positivity. And my positivity is the most important thing to me. How about that approach on the tennis course or as a coach? Because I'm sure when you get to the greatest athletes in the world, the Williams sisters, the Rodericks, the Capriatis, the list goes on. And the younger they are, the more apt they are to complain or to
Absolutely.
blame. How do you deal with, the natural human response of blame, shame, and justification and negative energy?
Well, before I answer the tennis parts, I love Sydney because he was on a mission. He was not going to be denied. He didn't want any negativity around him. But instead of the tennis part, let me go back to Tiger Woods doing an interview. He missed every fairway except one. Okay. And they're interviewing him in the media room, and they're complaining about his driving. Okay. This is how this guy doesn't want any negativity. He goes, "Yeah, but I one putted every green." So he flipped the script on the media. He doesn't want any of that around even a little bit. So no, you're right. And especially with young kids, the wind, the sun, the guy cheats, the crazy parent. You could go on, the balls, you go on and on and on. And I just tell people, winners find a way, losers make excuses. You want to get better, don't make excuses in life or on the tennis court. And I stress that all the time to these kids, because it's easy. You feel better about yourself when you blame others.
Yeah,
That's
that's
not what's going to make you. That's not what's going to make you stronger mentally. So no, the best of the best in anything are the most positive creatures. But having the ability to flip it and solve problems, and keep that attitude, that's what separates, someone really successful or great or becoming the best you can be, and someone that never reaches their potential, because their toughest competitor is that guy they look in the mirror at.
Yeah. And as much as you have a coach and you have your parents and you have your trainers and you have your PR person, and we have these, posses of people around us as athletes. So there's plenty of people that we can blame. Looking into the mirror is absolutely the best way to win championships.
But Dave, what I like it when the kids are complaining and negative and stuff like that, because I look at it as a challenge. That's what gets me going. You know what I mean? Instead of having the perfect yes, sir, and the perfect student, okay, that's a different starting point. But the ones that are the other way, that's more fulfilling, because you're not just changing a stroke, you're changing a life and a mindset.
Who's one of because I always don't like to ask people who the one is, especially when you have thousands. But give me one athlete that you've worked with that I have a different level of optimism in my life. I got it from my grandfather. I called my grandfather Papa, which a lot of people probably call their grandfather. Anyway, he was from Ohio, from Dayton, and then it moved to Akron, and then back to Dayton. And
that's near Greenville. That's near Greenville, 20 miles away. The mayor of Greenville just visited me yesterday here. They were blown away.
And there's another Florida guy that you may know that's from Dayton as well, Dan Patrick,
yes,
as well. But these guys, my grandfather, I'm a toptimist, but my grandfather was what I called a poptimist. He could find the light, the love, and the lessons in anything. He was so optimistic. Who's one of the most optimistic people that you've met in your career?
Well, there's obviously a lot of them, not just in sports, but in business. But if we take the tennis part, I would probably say Venus Williams. She thought she could do anything, even when she couldn't do anything, and that attitude. Serena, it took a little longer because she was not as mature at a young age, but Venus was amazing, in that regard. I would say, wait a minute. Why'd you try that shot? That's low percentage. And at 11, she'd look me in the eye and she'd go, because I thought I could make it. So,
I love it.
I don't, I might have what I think. Now she has to own it. I said, listen, you're going to pull the trigger off balance when you're going to hit down the line. And you know what? No one hit off balance down the line in the pros, and probably the history of women's tennis, better than Venus Williams. So sometimes the best advice a coach can do is say nothing and just let the student kind of figure it out. That's a big part of coaching.
How many times, have you watched Venus play as someone who's seen every shot, and with the knowledge that you have, and say, how the hell did she make that shot?
Not really. Sometimes when I watch Venus and Serena play, this is crazy stuff. Before they hit the ball, I know where they're going to hit it. Okay. I know where they're going to hit it, whether it's up the line, cross court, short. Here comes a drop shot. They're going airmail with a top spin. They're going to run around. I just, because you remember 4 years and putting that thing together, sure, there's little nuances, but you kind of can feel it. Just like someone analyzing football, you can probably tell what play they're going to run, like a good defensive back or linebacker. It's the same thing, or you got just a feel. But how uncanny is that? Because there's not a lot of options in tennis, but when you know someone that well, but then again, your opponent, you still got to stop it.
What's amazing is I've been around a ton of athletes, and for example, Tiger Woods, who has had some personal character slips in his life, which most people do, by the way. And when you're under that much scrutiny, they become quite apparent to everyone. You can't hide anymore any of your flaws, any of your human. And I love the people who make the biggest deal out of people's human nature and mistakes, because I've dealt with the press a lot, and sometimes I've had to have the press back off of some of my clients by saying, you know what, you go ahead and talk about this all you want, but what I'm going to do is hire a private investigator to follow you around for a year. And then we're going to go ahead and do a story on you and your life. And I think that'll give credibility to anything you say about my client. and the level of character of Tiger Woods compared to most press writers or beat reporters is exemplary. And before we come on with Michael Chandler, who you're gonna love.
Well, David, that's ultimately flipping the script. I mean, when you do that to the media, that's the ultimate flipping the script,
Yeah,
No,
and
that's
that's where
amazing.
the radical humility in my life came in. Is before I threw stones, I made sure how I was living my life, and I've learned so many lessons from making so many mistakes. And we wouldn't be here. God's made the mistake if we're not making mistakes, because you shouldn't be here if you're not making them. But Tiger Woods, this is one of my favorite Tiger Woods stories. I was fortunate enough to see Tiger win his first professional golf tournament, and they have, as they probably do in tennis, they have a banquet where they bring in the big sponsors and they celebrate the winner of the golf tournament after the golf tournament. And Tiger's in line. He's 19 years old, I believe, and he won his first tournament. And he's in line, and I'm right behind him at the bar, and he orders a whiskey sour. And the bartender, here's this young kid. He says, "Can I see your ID, please?" And Tiger said, I'm Tiger. And this is his response. I'll never forget. "I don't care if you're the effing Lion King. I need to see your ID."
Oh, I like that. I like that.
Yeah. So it was really good. Well, speaking of the Lion King, if you've ever seen Michael Chandler fight, it is representative of a Lion King. There's kings of the forest, there's kings of the jungle, and there's kings of the ring. When it comes to heart and soul, Michael Chandler, and I look at Lee Steinberg, we represented Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, even early on, Oscar De La Hoya. We've seen some kings. We've seen some kings, but I got the blessing of watching this guy in person. I've seen him on TV many of times. In person, go toe to toe, and I haven't seen an athlete have this much heart and soul in my entire career, and that's why he's become one of my closest friends. He's become an entrepreneurial superstar as well, and I'm blessed to hopefully mentor him even more in the money matter side, because anybody with a heart and soul like Michael Chandler, he's going to make a lot of money and help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Hey, champ, how you doing?
What's up? I'm living the dream, man. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Oh, dude, you create dreams. And I just want to once again thank you for everything that you do to allow people to see what your potential is, because you are an underdog and you're willing to stand toe to toe with the biggest and the brightest. And I know that nose looks like mine, but mine is genetic. Yours was a gift from so many different people, but especially your last fight.
Mine was an occupational hazard.
Exactly.
Mine was from occupational hazards.
Michael,
welcome.
welcome to the show. And every guest we have on, I always kind of start off this way to see if there's some common threads. And when David said MMA, I thought he wanted to change the show to Meltzer Macci Amplified. So that was number one. Number two, okay, I show the world how to break serve, and you show the world how to break bones. Okay, so that's number two we got in common. Number three, you fight in a cage, and a lot of these junior tennis parents I deal with, they should be in a cage. Okay, I teach the kick serve. I teach people to think out of the box. Okay, you do the same thing. You kick and box, but the most common thread that we have with you was April 19th, 2022. A little Chandler came into this world, and I want you to tell all the viewers what his name is.
His name is Ace.
There you go.
There you
Ace.
go. There you go. Another common thread.
You could have named him forehand or double fault, but Ace is the place with Meltzer and Mace. So there you go.
Exactly. I love it, man. A lot of common threads.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of common threads, and it's an honor to be here. Thank you all so much. And as David said too, just I'm living the dream and loving to get opportunities like this. So thank you guys so much for having me, and hope we can add some value to people's lives.
Yeah. And you can. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is, as you get to the later years of your career, you don't have to fight anymore. You're a seasoned entrepreneur, business person, philanthropist, and it's one thing to want to play tennis or golf until you're 80. But I was watching your last fight thinking, man, if I had the life with my gorgeous wife, kids, economic success, but also the brain and acumen to make so much money outside the cage. You know, what is it that brought you back and continue to bring you back into the cage when, you know, obviously it's not an easy living to get stand up with the toughest people in the world, and you know it has to hurt. I mean, I couldn't imagine there's easier ways to make money.
There is. Well, especially when I'm blessed to have awesome relationships and friendships like yourself. And it's you know, I just think I've been given so many great gifts. And God has had me in the palm of his hand since the very, very beginning. And I've watched it all be orchestrated. And I keep coming back time and time again because I think truly I still have the passion, I still have the purpose, I still have my why connected to it. You know, as you said, I have my wife and my two boys, and this sport has afforded me some amazing gifts and blessings and opportunities and a huge platform. So I just I love the opportunity. You know, I love to compete. You know, it's actually funny. I don't really love fighting that much. You know, people see the way that I compete and they see the ferocity in which I compete, and they think I must just love it. And I actually, you know, don't really love the fighting that much, but it's the shiny object that brings people and draws people to me and my story and the story of the walk on and the story of just a guy who was a small guy from a small town who was taught to do small things, and somehow, some way, here I am. And every single chapter, every single fight is another brush stroke on this masterpiece I'm painting for my sons to be able to see someday. And ultimately too, as athletes, you know, David, you guys have been around a lot of athletes, obviously Rick, with tennis players. You know when they start to decline at a certain age, or whether it be mindset or whatever it be, I feel like I'm still continuing to scratch the surface every single time I fight, and every single day is just a blessing, and continuing to do it until the wheels fall off, and making sure I stay healthy, because obviously this is as we talked about with the nose, there's a lot of occupational hazards that come with mixed martial arts, but also a lot of opportunities and a lot of blessings. So we're going to keep on keeping on until it's time to take those gloves off for the last time and sail off into the sunset and just make a living doing things that are a little bit easier physically.
No, listen, at the end of the day, you know, how Michael's wired from those early days in Missouri, running around the woods in diapers, and your dad built your house with his bare hands, the work ethic, and how you're put together from, you know, the ground up. Those core values are still with you. And you're such a good, amazing competitor. It's hard to let that go. You'll know when you got to do that, but you just love to compete. Anybody, anytime, anywhere. It's the competition. And that's what this is all about. And that's the underlying factor for any athlete, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing, Dave, that he described so perfectly.
And Rick, if Mike calls you in 3 years and he says, Rick, man, I just love fighting, you know, not love fighting, but I want to keep giving back, but I'm not sure it's time. Every single one of your greatest tennis players in the world has come to that point at different ages and different pieces and parts of their career. What are some of the questions that you would ask Michael to help him determine when it's time to hang it up? Are there certain questions that you talked with Serena and Venus about, or, you know, what would you ask Michael before he made that decision?
Well, I think number one, you know, he has a family, he has to make a living, but if he has to feel that he honestly has a chance to win, if he's just going through the motions, he's not only cheating the sport, he's cheating himself. And we talked about Roddick like that. He didn't want to be 50 in the world. If Roddick couldn't be top 10, that's why he retired at 28, where you got VW and Serena still playing at 40, you know, because they could be relevant. So it's a different situation for everybody. But if he thinks he can still deliver the goods or the knockout punch, he should keep going, because listen, age is a number. There's no playbook for this. You know what I mean? People don't know what's inside. They see a number, but they don't know what's inside this guy. And they don't want to know what's inside this guy.
Yeah, they don't. Trust me, I want to know what's inside him when I was going to make some money with us together. And I've started that venture with him. And everything he touches off and outside the ring, he's successful at, because he takes the same diligence and the same mindset, heart set, and handset that it takes to be successful. Mike, what's one of the challenges? You know, I love doing this to build my own ego and toughness, you know, when being an entrepreneur is not easy.
Yeah.
And so it does create fear in people, a different kind of fear. What's one thing that's challenging when it comes to making money, building a business, deciding to invest in something, and you do all three, but do you have fear sometimes that's equal to or greater than that of being in the ring? And if so, why?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I think honestly, being an athlete for me came pretty naturally to me. There's not a lot of fear that I have going into a huge, my last fight, Madison Square Garden, the world's most iconic arena, the brightest lights. You were there. It was warming up in the same locker rooms as Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson and the greats of combat sports. But I don't have any fears going into it because I know I have no regrets. Based on my preparation. I left no stone unturned in my preparation. I was diligent with my diet. I was diligent with my training. I was diligent with my sleep, diligent with my supplementation. So, those decisions to do the right thing were always easy for me when it came to athletics. When you talk about business or you're talking about rubbing elbows with some of the biggest and brightest minds in business in the world, you can start to have somewhat of an imposter syndrome. You can have somewhat of the fear of, well, okay, you were good at this one thing, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to translate to the next thing. So I think just working a lot on myself, operating in gratitude for that which I do have, which wakes me up every single morning. And I hear you talk about it all the time. Say thank you in the morning and say thank you before you go to bed at night. And I've really been working on that because as humans, we are prone to wander, and we are prone to get used to the blessings that we have. And they no longer seem like blessings anymore because they seem like commonplace. And I think since this last fight, especially over the holidays, getting to spend a lot of time with my family and a little bit of downtime, that's when you can really do the most work on yourself to realize the blessings that you do have in your life, how thankful you are for the people, the places, the things that you get to be around, and ultimately why you are doing what you are doing. So when it comes to the fears of investments or the fears of, do I deserve to be in the room with this person? Do I deserve to be on a conversation like this, on a call like this? It's always continuing to operate in gratitude and say, hey, it's not really up to me. These opportunities are going to come and go, and these opportunities are going to present themselves, and it's up to me to put my best foot forward. And hopefully, your reputation speaks for itself, and you can continue to move forward and hope for the best. And it's kind of like my fight style. Sometimes it's go out there and sometimes it's throw caution to the wind. Sometimes it's being very calculated and finding that beautiful, delicate dance between the two.
If I could chime in as a coach, first off, if you attack the business world, because you already got all the inner qualities, and as you get more experience, you get more confidence, or you should have confidence because you already got the wiring. A lot of people don't have the wiring. You're going to be in a different field, and you just got to believe, and you should not hope to do it. You should expect to do it. Just like when you go in a fight, it's the same thing. And I know confidence breeds confidence. You see people that have done certain things and then you get more comfortable, but you can get that confidence even before you get the confidence.
I love that.
And Rick, as a coach, preparation is, what we're there for in part and parcel to make sure
I'm
that
interviewing the coach Ace, by the way, because he's already has the name. I just got to get him strokes. So,
yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
There's a backstory going on here.
Heck
If
yeah.
if he looks like his parents and plays like your players, Rick, I can market that all day long.
Let's
No
go.
problem.
All right. All
Yeah,
right. We got the trifecta here. That's good.
you're born into your name. My name means beloved servant, and unfortunately, it's not beloved server, but it's servant.
Servant.
So I'm giving back. But it's interesting because that word preparation is my superpower in business. When you see the interviews, the shows, the business due diligence, the advisory, the things that I do, I was able, because I sucked so bad at sports, I was able to prepare my way to be average college athlete. But I just wasn't born with what I was born with for off the court. But I applied that diligence, all the prepared stuff that, I prepared as well as any professional athlete. I just didn't have it. And you talk about genetics, Rick, all the time.
Yeah.
But when I applied everything I learned to be decent as a college athlete to life, my skill set was much more aligned with what we do. How do we help athletes reach their potential, regardless of what level, because you coach every level, and we get fortunate enough to see someone as brilliant as Mike in the cage. But how do we get them to apply the preparation aspect that we know is the formula to reach our potential?
Well, obviously, in anything, preparation is the name of the game. You can't. You might get lucky and go in there and wing it, but your greatness is consistency. You know what I mean? That separates. That's rare air when you're great. Anybody can be good, and I try to stress this about the preparation. You know, you got to have discipline. You got to have structure. It should be boom, 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 and you let the chips fall. But if you're leaving any stone unturned, it's going to come back to bite you. Plus, you're building bad habits. So I try to do this even with 8-year-olds. You know, I want structure, discipline, even though they're going home to mom and dad. Okay, there has to be a routine. Okay, if you want to be a pro, start training like a pro. You want to go to college? I can help you with that. That's not a bad opportunity. But if you want to be great and they tell me what they want to be, that's a whole different discussion. If you want to be this, you know, and it's once you get them to own it, then they got to do it every single day. But preparation, Dave, is what this is all about. Even before this podcast, that's what it's all about. And like I said, you can wing it, but you're not going to ever reach your potential.
And consistency. I mean, this could be the trio of consistency. I gladly put up how consistent all three of us are comparatively to anyone that I know. But there's two aspects to being consistent. I love, Mike, for you to share with me. One is I always joke around that I've never woken up and wanted to go for my run. I run 3.5 miles, and I've never woken up and said, man, I can't wait to get out there and do it. But I've never finished running and said, damn, I wish I didn't do that. So my first question is, what do you say to yourself, or what do you do to get started when you know you don't want to get started, and you know the result? I don't know what it is about human nature. We don't want to get started, even though every time we finish, we know it feels so good. And then two, even more importantly for everyone, how the hell do you get your kids to do shit?
Yeah, well, I'm still working on that second part right now, you know, with a almost 6-year-old and obviously an 8-month-old. And that is a constant battle that I'm going to be working through. But in my life, and for me, and even as a professional athlete, I mean, this is my job and this is my profession. This is how I provide for my family. And there's still times where you don't feel it. You know, you just don't feel it. And then you kind of have to stop and pinch yourself and say, man, how entitled must you be to not want to go do this workout right now, or not want to go do this run or this ice bath, when you know it's going to lead to success, you know it's going to lead to providing for your family and putting food on the table. And I think for me, you know, starting out as a young man athlete all by myself, then you get married, then you have the kids. I mean, my level of gratitude and my level of responsibility also at the same time, and adding to my why year after year, now having two sons that are going to someday see who their dad is, not because of what I said. Hey, you know, hey son, check out this fight of me. Hey son, check out this newspaper clipping. I don't want them to see, I don't want me to tell them. I want them to talk to you guys. I want them to talk to their peers. I want them to see things on the internet, or see things from other people, that I created a masterpiece, that they were able to see who their dad was through other people. Because I can tell them all day long, you know? So I think for me, it's just knowing that not only do I have a great crowd of witnesses around the world, but I have two witnesses at home that are, you know, my guiding light in life, that I will be, you know, their Superman, if you will, you know? So, I really just think about them, you know, and I talk about wearing my wedding ring. I have a silicone wedding band that I can wear at all times. I can wear it underneath my gloves. I can wear it in the sparring sessions, in the lifts. I used to have my gold medal band and I used to take it off. It's crazy I didn't lose it, but I have my Y attached to me at all times, and I can always look down on it and say, okay, this one's for Ace, this one's for Hap, this one's for Bree, this one's for my platform, this one is for, you know, the beautiful blessings that I have. So I kind of really just going back to operating in gratitude, because I didn't do it, you know, for a long time. I became very complacent, and hey, you know, I work hard, so I deserve to be successful, or I work hard, so I deserve this and that. And then you really start to pull yourself out of it. And I think it does come with age, you know, wisdom, being a seasoned veteran, that you think, wait a second, none of this is given. This is all rented every single day. And the rent is due every single time that sun comes up. So just loving my life, and loving who I get to live it for and who I get to provide for. That's really what I tell myself. And then someday, hopefully, they will see the hard work that I put in, and hopefully it rubbed off on them a little bit, and they're able to, do hard things, do things that challenge them, do things that scare them, and ultimately make an impact that we all want, not just ourselves, but our offspring, our children, to make.
Dave,
Man,
if I
Rick,
can back the truck up a second, when you said about running the 3 miles, or I don't want to work out, or I don't want to do that, all us have done certain things for so long. Then it's this game within a game within a game with yourself where you feel guilty and you're cheating yourself. It's not about your opponent. It's not about anything else. It's you and you. And that's your ultimate competitor. So you almost don't want to do it, but then you feel guilty to yourself, and then you do it, and then you feel great. And once you get in that routine, you don't want to get out of it. And this is what you got to start if you ever want to finish.
Yep.
yeah, I'd love to land a plane with this is, there's different levels of success combined with passion, purpose, as well as profitability. And people reach a level in their life where they're, start taking for granted what other people wish for. And you see that here living in America, that, one of the things I think that I try to help gain a participation and a perception with Americans is, hey, look, we have things to work on, but don't take for granted what everyone else around the world are wishing for. And that's what living in America means to me. And I know it does to you guys as well. But there becomes the next level of success that we have to deal with. And it's taking for granted what we wish for. That we all reach the level growing up where we grew up and how we grew up with the parents that we grew up with, that we've reached a level in our lives where we actually can take for granted what we were wishing for. We've exceeded what we were wishing for as kids, what we thought maybe even could be a reality. And I see that in my life. And I know, Rick, you probably have seen that not just in your life, but in so many athletes' lives. As we land this plane, how do we remind ourselves of that gratitude, that we're so grateful in life that not only are we beyond what other people are wishing for, we're beyond what we ourselves are wishing for. And it becomes a responsibility. We have an accountability to ourselves and our families to make sure that we carry forward that and let people watch us, not listen to us, but watch us and learn from what they see.
Yeah, no, listen, at the end of the day, we're all day to day. You know what I mean? This thing can change in a blink of an eye for all three of us. So, but people get caught up in all the insanity, everything that goes on every day in life. It's easy to get caught up in that. You got to appreciate every day, every hour, every minute, every second. It's all how you look at the game of life. And when you do that, you'll feel better about yourself. You're going to appreciate people more. You'll be thankful more. It's all perspective, but it's an attitude adjustment. And that's what I try to do with most of the players, because as I told you, the best of the best, even Michael, they're the most positive creatures that walk the face of the earth.
Yeah, and positivity has to be worked on every single day. That's the thing.
Every day.
It's like
A lot of
shower.
haters.
Yeah, it's like showering. It wears off. It's recommended daily.
There you go.
Positivity. That was a Zig Ziglar line. That's what he always said. Motivation wears off. It's like a shower. It wears off. It's recommended daily, and it is true. And it's not just reading something, or it's not just watching something. All that is great, but also continuing to seek out people, places, things that fill you up, that fill up your bucket, that make you feel alive. And I love what you said, David, too. Like, I mean, if you would have asked, the little 16-year-old Michael Chandler, hey, I'll give you just 1/4 of what I currently have now, or the platform that I have now, or the financial stability that I have now, or the wife and the kids that I always dreamed of, he would be ecstatic. But still, somehow, little old me, I wake up every morning and, well, I got this, that, and the other thing to worry about. And we forget how truly blessed we are, and it's, I love that perspective. And truly, if I could even just back it up, seeing people like yourself who are in the even later stage of life with more than I have and more of everything that I want, and you admitting that, and you still seeing the gratitude that you live with. I mean, that's really what the game is as well. Continuing to see the people that you want to be like, the places you want to be, the things you want to do and have, and then operating in gratitude from point A to point B, And then once again, going back to saying thank you every morning and thank you every night. And that has helped me tremendously recently because, we can all get caught up in the woes, and we can all get caught up in the if I's and the nearlies, and I need this and I need that, when really we have everything that we need, and everything is at our disposal. We have an infinite amount of happiness and joy and peace and contentment, and all of those things inside of us. It's just up to us to actually tap into them and find the people, places, and things that make us feel alive.
I'll tell you what, you must be watching a guy like Rick Macci or David Meltzer. You have definitely, you don't get that from listening, but you got that from watching and seeing. And Michael, tomorrow's my 55th birthday, and I'm going to celebrate it in Nashville, Tennessee shortly. And I'm hoping that if you want a stage, you can step on stage with me there, because I'll be speaking. But please honor me by allowing me and my wife to take you and your wife out while we're in your backyard. I know we'll get together, but make some time for me while I'm there that weekend, because I would love to celebrate my own existence by having someone who has such a great existence. And Mr. Macci, if you could fly up as well, I'm getting closer and closer to seeing you in person. But please, anybody wants to celebrate the celebratable, what an honor it is. An exemplary interview about Game Set Life for all sports and all walks of life. Rick, any last comments for our new friend?
Well, when he's thinking of thank you, I just want to thank you, because the way he's wired and he can inspire so many people, it's unbelievable.
Well, thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. This is an honor for me, and I appreciate you all. And happy early birthday. I know it's less than 24 hours away, Dave.
Tell Ace he's on my radar screen. I recruited him. Even when David was an agent, he went after him young, but I go real young.
You should see.
I got to beat everybody to the punch.
He just started crawling, man. You should see the footwork or the knee work.
Yeah.
Strong core.
I watched YouTube. I saw your footwork. I know how he's already moving.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Incredible. Michael Chandler. We'll see a lot more of him as well. If you're not following him, if you've been hiding under a rock, if you haven't experienced him inside and outside the cage, you're missing out. Michael Chandler, thank you so much for inspiring us all.
You got it. Thank you, guys. I'll see you at the top.
Thanks.
See you soon, man.
Thanks.
Awesome. Wow. All right.
What a champion, huh? No, not just like what he's done. No, it's like, come on. It's like his feet are on the ground, even though they're not when he's in the octagon. His feet are all over the place, but his feet are so on the ground. I love it.
Perfect. I have time for one question for you. I don't like to waste time. When you got someone like Rick Macci in the house, you just can't end it early, right? We got 3 minutes, and I'm thinking for all of us, it would be terrible if I didn't ask. So best advice for a high school athlete who wants to go to college and then to be a professional afterwards.
Well, first off, you got to play tournaments. Coaches, they recruit based on ranking, whether local, state, national, or UTR. That's one of the things they look at. But they also look at potential, okay? And not where you're at maybe at 17, but maybe where you're going to be at age 20. And they also want to know how you're going to get along with 9 other people on a team, your work ethic, your attitude. So I've known people that had a much better ranking, and I've got people right into Cornell or Harvard or Georgia, and because of their work ethic, their potential, and their attitude. So those things all go hand in hand, but you got to play tournaments, because a lot of coaches are basing on your results as a junior.
Yeah, and I think, from my perspective, and I've dealt with a lot, like you said, recruiting young athletes, and it's getting even more complex with NIL, which is naming, image, and likeness, and allowing athletes to make money earlier and earlier. And the numbers from this year, NIL, were astounding to me, and how that's going to impact college athletics, not just football and basketball, but all of college athletics is going to be a great thing if utilized correctly. But it's about timing and risk tolerance, and I think, in terms of entrepreneurial vernacular or vocabulary, people don't think about their athletic career in the context of an investment in themselves. And anytime we make an investment, like to go to college or to become a professional, we have to do a timing and risk tolerance and analyst or you have to analyze the timing and risk tolerance involved. And I think a lot of people and parents don't think about it in this context. I told my children, hey, look, I've dreamed about, because I wasn't able to, I had to get a scholarship to college. And some of my kids got scholarships, but I would go to college all day long if somebody else was paying. There's just, right?
Yeah.
And if I couldn't afford it, I may think about getting educated, on YouTube and other places that are a lot less expensive. And it may not be quite as fun and experiential, but there's plenty of places to get educated. So do a timing and risk tolerance analysis for yourself, whether it's in athletics or in academics. If you're going to invest in yourself, then treat it like a true investment. And it's an area that if anyone needs any help, I know the incredible Rick Macci and myself have dedicated our lives to helping people do that analysis, because in the end, as much as we deal with the greatest champions in the world, like Michael Chandler, and we don't have to go through the long list that you have, we're here to help everyone, to empower other people, to empower others, to make this a better place to live. It's game, set, life. That's why Rick Macci takes his time every single week to be here. And it's an honor and a privilege for us in our community to have you, Rick. Thank you for sharing the great lessons and inspiring us all.
No, thank you, David.
Incredible. We'll see you next week, my boy.
All right. See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday. Thanks, man. The incredible Rick Macci, everyone. I just love that guy. This is my favorite thing that I'm doing. If you haven't seen the video, we're going to start posting up that commercial video, because it's top of the line. We're going to play it after the show. If you want to reach out to Rick, it's info@rickmacci.com, @rickmacci, @David Meltzer, or david@dmeltzer.com. Books, guides, exercises, and help, always available, even for free. But remember, most importantly, be more interested than interesting. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Game, set, life. Hit it, Matt.
There are times that I may slip up, won't always get it right. Guarantee I'll be on top when it's game, set, life. Get up and show up, don't ever lose your fight. You watching me from the couch, at least I say I tried. A long time ago, someone said this stuck with me. Passion without action will only remain a dream. Keep positive, motivated people on your team, cause other negativity can kill your self-esteem. Believing is powerful, but sadly so is doubt. So you can choose which way you wanna go, which route. The mind that controls the body can beat anybody, and gotta be all in, don't treat your dreams like a hobby. And if you practice on your day off, won't have an off day. Talent alone won't get you there, still got a long way. Gotta take big risks and big steps to strive. Wanna be the winner when it's game, set, live.